Thanks a lot. All right. And so this question is from Mary. And Mary's actually a client of mine. And again, so I've cherry picked these questions for this topic today. But Mary of mine is a client. She loves yoga. And I say, Mary, I will not try to talk you out of your yoga and your Pilates and all that stuff. But, um, she asks, why are yoga, Pilates, and personal trainings not great solutions for chronic pain or functional longevity? Well, so let's take them one by one. Yoga. So Stu McGill, who is the leading back pain expert in North America, fantastic guy, fantastic books. I suggest that you study his stuff. I, of course, suggest you study my stuff too, but study Stu McGill. He's great, fantastic. And he'll talk about yoga. He says the leading causes of hip replacements are yoga and deadlifts. So those seem to be opposite things, but there are people who want to engage in a fitness type activity at a very high level without perpetually taking stock of what the body is going through at each level. And so they end up overstressing the joints. In yoga, it's putting too much laxity, at end range without stabilization. There's too much grinding at that end range. And then there's not enough analysis of what the nature of the dysfunction is with regard to either pain or even pre-symptomatic balance. That means making sure that as you're going through all of these things, that just because you're not in pain doesn't mean that, you're not experiencing some sort of dyskinesis. Any program that involves all these heavier stuff for people who are looking for longevity and wanting to do these things for a lifetime, then you should be evaluating your body very frequently to make sure that you're not causing these hyper imbalances that are going to lead to pain and injury, even acute injuries, which means the actual tearing and wearing down of body tissues prior to getting to a symptom, right? All right, and then Pilates. Pilates, again, there's not enough analysis of the nature of the core balance and coordination. And so if you apply an intensity or a volume, which if you're going into a 30, 60, 90 minute Pilates session, then, you're doing a lot of volume. That's what most of the time you're paying for is the volume or the intensity. You want to feel like you worked out. Well, at an engagement level where you're teaching the coordination, then this is very bad because you're actually strengthening dysfunction. Because when you start adding intensity or volume where you haven't coordinated the core and stabilization units of the body to stabilize correctly, then what you're going to have is the body's going to create dysfunction on top of what already exists, because it's going to, I'm searching for the word, it's going to basically use one method to gain, to get the function done when the other function that you should have had used is failing. So I'll think of that word in a minute. But anyways, it's a common word. I don't know why I can't think of it. But anyways, that's what's happening in Pilates. Because of the nature of Pilates and the nature of this an exercise class, we're so used to wanting, this half an hour of sweat that, that we go in and we try to get back that balance. But that's not what you do when you're trying to create balance. So you have to do something in between, the pain or the function or the dysfunction and going into the Pilates. So personal trainers just kind of have a wide breadth of skill and education. You have really, really great ones, or you have really, really not so great ones. You really want to look for, something more of a background in, maybe something a little bit deeper, than just the personal training certification. Degrees are good for a foundation, but that doesn't guarantee anything either. You really want to look for a degree of skill and and practice in that area specifically. If you're looking to, if you're looking to get out of chronic pain. So for all three of the aforementioned yoga, Pilates, and personal trainers, they also don't follow a full scope multidisciplinary approach. So they're looking at, they're missing the forest for the trees in a way. Thinking that one skill that they've applied, that they've gotten good at, is going to be an answer when you have to take these other things into account. You have to take into account the interdependence of the body. You even have to take into account cardio and stuff like that. Are you doing cardio? Sometimes the activity done within cardiovascular activity might be causing something. You might want to have a prescriptive answer for that. So there's a lot of things within like health coaching and stuff like that that you want to look at as well. And then also they also take much too much time in terms of, or it's like take too much in the order of time and motivation. So like Pilates class, you got to drive there, you got to get to the parking lot, you got to check in, you got to, be in this class with a teacher. It's a certain amount of time, when it might be a lot easier to just open up a book or be taught something that can be, covered in 5 to 10 minutes, in your living room in the morning, or in your front yard. That's honestly where I do all my stuff. And it's far superior, much less sore. It doesn't take a whole lot of motivation. My kids climb all over me while I'm doing it, and it's a great thing. As opposed to having to incorporate all those extra things that go along with a gym or a studio. So, Mary, if you're listening, which I hope you are, because I know you're on the email list, so I know that you're going to get connected with this podcast. So I hope that answered your question a little bit more complete than it does even during our sessions. Hey, and if you found that information valuable, go ahead and click on up above and check out our Chronic Pain Masterclass. Thanks a lot.